There is a quiet strength that many overlook, a kind of power that doesn't shout, doesn't argue, and doesn't beg to be seen, yet it wins battles, earns respect, and brings peace. That power is silence. They say silence is golden, not because it is passive or weak, but because it is rare, precious, and powerful. In a world that never stops talking, silence becomes your secret weapon. It is the sign of someone who knows who they are, what they carry, and what they no longer need to prove. Today I want to walk you through the depth of this golden silence, why it works, how it protects you, how it builds you, and why those who master silence often dominate their lives, not with noise but with quiet power. But even more importantly, I will show you when to be silent and when to speak up and fight back, because silence is power, but only when you use it with wisdom. Section 1. Silence is strength, not weakness. You don't need to raise your voice to show your worth. You don't need to argue to prove your intelligence. You don't need to respond to everything, especially not to ignorance, insults, or insecurity. People think being silent means being soft, but the truth is, silence is a form of strength. It takes courage to stay calm when you're misunderstood. It takes power to stay still when you're attacked. It takes self-respect to walk away when drama calls your name. The loudest person in the room is rarely the strongest. Often it's the one who stays quiet, watches, listens, and moves in silence that wins. When you are silent, you give no room for manipulation, no fuel for gossip, no entrance for disrespect. You keep your peace and your power. Section 2. Silence protects your energy. Not every battle deserves your voice. Not every insult needs a reply. Not every situation deserves your reaction. You protect your peace by mastering your response. You protect your mind by controlling your mouth. You protect your energy by choosing what and who is worth your words. When you stay silent, you start noticing things: who really values you, who just wants attention, who thrives on chaos, and who is trying to drain you. Silence is not empty, it's full of answers. Section 3. Silence speaks louder than words. Sometimes the best response is no response. You don't always need to announce your next move. You don't need to explain why you left. You don't need to justify your healing. Let your silence speak. Let your growth make the noise. Let your success be your reply. People can argue with your words, but they can't fight your silence. They can't twist it. They can't misquote it. They don't know what to do with it. That's power. Section 4. Silence builds character and clarity. In silence, you meet yourself. You confront your truth. It's in the quiet moments that you hear your heart. You hear your wounds. You hear your dreams. Most people fear silence because it forces them to face what noise helped them escape. But if you can sit with your silence, you begin to understand who you are without the world's voices, without their opinions, without their judgments. Silence helps you sharpen your focus, build mental toughness, and develop emotional discipline. Section 5. Silence in conflicts, your ultimate power. When people argue with you, insult you, or try to bring you down, your silence is your shield. Why? Because responding in anger means they now control you. Silence puts the control back in your hands. It says, you don't get access to my peace. It says, you are not worth my energy. It says, I choose me over reacting to you. Your silence forces people to deal with themselves. It exposes their own character. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them misjudge. Your silence will always tell the truth in time. Section 6. Silence in strategy. Move without announcing. Never announce your next step. Just take it. Never explain your dreams. Just chase them. Never justify your healing. Just do the work. Silence keeps your enemies confused. Silence protects your progress. Silence keeps your journey sacred. If you really want to succeed, stop seeking approval and applause. Start working in the dark. Let your results shine in the light. There's a reason why seeds grow underground before they bloom. Your silence is your soil. Section 7. Silence in healing. How to rebuild quietly. When you're broken, you don't need to broadcast it. You don't need to explain your pain. You don't need to perform your healing. You need stillness. You need silence. You need space. It's in silence you begin to heal. When the world is too loud, silence becomes your medicine. When people don't understand your pain, silence becomes your refuge. When your heart is heavy, silence becomes your sanctuary. Protect your healing by refusing to explain it. Rebuild yourself quietly, but come back stronger than ever. Section 8. Silence is a sign of maturity. You don't need to reply to everything. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to make noise to feel seen. Mature people understand this. Peace is better than attention. Growth is better than validation. Clarity is better than chaos. And silence is better than unnecessary drama. There's a calm that comes when you no longer feel the need to defend yourself to anyone. You just live. You just evolve. You just move on. Section 9. Silence attracts respect. The most powerful people don't speak too much. They listen, they observe, they calculate, they move. There is something intimidating about a quiet, focused person. They are hard to read, hard to shake, hard to provoke. Why? Because they are grounded. They don't need outside noise to define their value. People respect those who don't need to shout to be heard. People trust those who don't gossip, don't react, don't beg for attention. Section 10. But when should you break the silence? Let's be real. Silence is golden, but not always. If you're being abused, mistreated, disrespected, or physically harmed, staying silent is no longer strength. It's self-destruction. Silence is power only when it is a choice, not when it's driven by fear. Silence is strength only when it protects your peace, not when it costs your dignity or safety. Speak up when you're being physically or emotionally harmed, you're in danger and need protection. Your boundaries are being crossed repeatedly. Your silence is enabling evil or injustice. True power is knowing when to stay silent and when to stand up and speak with fire. You don't have to react to every insult, but you do have to defend your life. You don't have to respond to every fool, but you do have to protect your safety. Silence can save you, but it should never destroy you. Let your silence protect your peace, but let your voice protect your life. Your new power, the golden balance. From today, let silence become your power and not your prison. Speak when necessary, but don't waste your words. Respond when wise, but don't react to fools. Express yourself, but don't lose yourself in noise. Defend yourself, but don't let anger ruin you. Let your actions speak. Let your life speak. Let your peace speak. Let your strength speak. Let your courage speak. Because silence is golden, not in all things but in the right moments, and those who master their silence master their lives. Conclusion. In a world of loud voices and desperate noise, be the one who commands the room with your calm. Be the one who rises without shouting. Be the one who speaks without words, but acts with wisdom. Your silence is golden, but your voice is sacred. Use both. Master both. Win quietly. Grow wisely. Speak bravely. Move powerfully. Because silence is not just golden, it's divine, and your balance is your breakthrough.